Imagine waking up to the news that the family based green card system you've been depending on for years might soon change. Again. For many immigrants, these updates bring not just confusion, but real fear. Fear of being separated from loved ones, fear of more delays, and fear that the rules might shift right when you thought you were finally getting closer to your American dream. You're not alone. People across the United States and around the world are anxious about what's coming next. And today, we're going to walk through these changes together, step by step, calmly and clearly, so you know exactly what this major policy shakeup from November 2025 could mean for your family's future. Now, let's take a deep breath and break down what's actually happening. When people hear about major policy changes, it often sounds bigger and scarier than it really is. But in the immigration system, even small adjustments can have real effects. So, rather than guessing or stressing, let's look carefully at what is shifting, why it's shifting, and who could be impacted the most. Starting in November 2025, the U.S. government is making notable adjustments to the way family-based green cards are processed. These changes are not coming all at once. Instead, they are rolling out gradually, affecting different categories and stages of the immigration process. Many of these updates are intended to modernize the system, reduce fraud, and improve efficiency. But as always, the effects can be different for each family. First, let's talk about processing times, something every immigrant is painfully familiar with. For years, family-based green card categories like F2A, F3, and F4 have faced severe delays, sometimes stretching well over a decade. The November 2025 shift suggests that the government may begin redistributing visa numbers to better match actual demand. That means categories that have been stuck for a long time might finally see movement. For example, siblings of U.S. citizens, who often face the longest waits, could benefit if the government reallocates unused visa numbers from other categories. But this also means that some categories with high demand and high volume, like spouses and minor children of green card holders, could experience slight slowdowns if the government adjusts how it counts visa usage. It's important to understand that visa numbers work like a budget. You only have a certain amount for each category. If one category uses fewer numbers than expected, those numbers can sometimes be shifted to another category. But when demand grows too fast, the government has to slow down the pace to prevent running out. This is why you sometimes see the visa bulletin move forward 1 month and then suddenly jump back, a change called retrogression. It's frustrating, but it's a normal part of the system. With the upcoming policy changes, these movements might become more frequent as the government recalculates many of the totals. Another major update involves documentation and evidence. Beginning November 2025, U.S. immigration officers will be using new digital verification tools when reviewing family relationships. For petitioners, this means you might see more requests for evidence, especially in cases where the relationship might not be immediately clear. For example, if you are sponsoring a stepchild and the marriage creating the relationship happened recently, officers may ask for more proof, such as communication records, shared financial documents, or additional photographs. This does not mean they are doubting you personally. It just means the standard of review is changing. These new verification tools also aim to reduce processing errors. For example, if your application contains mismatched dates or missing fields, these systems may catch the issue earlier, preventing your case from being delayed by months. So while it may feel like more work up front, in many cases it can actually speed up the process later. Now let's talk about interviews, something many families worry about. Starting late 2025, more family-based green card applicants inside the United States may be required to attend in-person interviews, especially if the case includes complex histories, such as prior visa overstays, previous immigration petitions, or long periods living outside the United States. This is part of the government's broader push to create a more consistent review process. But for straightforward cases, interviews may continue to be waived. If you are applying from outside the United States at a U.S. consulate, interview requirements will still depend on your specific embassy, and changes may vary by country. Some embassies are still catching up on huge backlogs, while others are nearly up to normal speed again. The big question many people have is about priority dates. Will they move faster or slower after November 2025? The honest answer is that it depends. Some categories are expected to see positive movement because demand has decreased, while others may slow down because the number of applicants has grown. But the most important thing for families is to stay updated and understand that movement, even small movement, is normal. For example, if your priority date is only a few months away from the cutoff date, the November policy shift could actually help you. But if you're still several years behind, you may not see immediate changes, even though the long-term system might improve. Let's also look at how these changes affect people already living in the United States. Adjustment of status applicants, meaning those who apply for the green card inside the U.S., may see updated work permit timelines. Some applicants could receive their employment authorization documents slightly faster due to processing improvements. Others might experience new background check delays if the updated systems flag their cases for manual review. If you are planning to apply inside the U.S., the best thing you can do is submit a complete application with accurate documents. Simple mistakes are one of the most common reasons for slowdowns. Families outside the United States might see different effects. For some countries, consulates are increasing staffing and appointment availability. For others, especially high-demand regions, the wait for interviews might get longer due to new training requirements for consular officers. This means your experience could depend on where you're applying from. Another important change involves public charge rules. While no major shift has been announced, the government is tightening consistency in how financial sponsorship forms are evaluated. More sponsors may be asked to provide supplementary proof of income or tax transcripts. This doesn't mean the rules are getting stricter, it means they want to ensure all sponsors meet the same standard. If you are a sponsor and your income is close to the minimum requirement, it may be a good idea to gather additional proof of support early, such as employer letters, pay stubs, or records of cash assets. Many families are also wondering if these changes affect people with pending cases. The answer is yes and no. Your priority date will not reset, and your place in line will not be taken away. But the speed at which your case moves could change based on how visa numbers are redistributed. Think of it like traffic. Even if your car stays in the same lane, the speed of the cars in front of you might change, making your own timeline shift slightly faster or slower. Let's not forget humanitarian considerations. The U.S. continues to support exceptions for certain urgent cases, such as minor children who risk aging out. Under November 2025 updates, officers will receive clearer guidance on how to prioritize cases where dependents are nearing critical age thresholds. This could help families who otherwise might have faced heartbreaking separations. One of the most important parts of this entire discussion is understanding what you can do now. Staying informed is key. Small policy updates often go unnoticed until they affect a family directly. But by learning what's changing in advance, you can prepare your documents, adjust expectations, and avoid unnecessary delays. If you are in a position to file soon, it's often better to submit earlier rather than wait, because the earlier your place is secured, the less you'll be affected by future adjustments. Finally, remember this: immigration changes can feel overwhelming, but with preparation and understanding, you can navigate them with confidence. You may not have control over the visa bulletin or government policy, but you do have control over how organized and informed your own process is. Every month brings new updates, and staying aware is one of the most powerful tools you have. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this explanation helpful, please subscribe to Legal Focus USA for more immigration updates, policy explanations, and clear legal guidance to help your family stay on track toward your American future.